Hey everybody, Tim Dwyer from South Australia. How you doing? Well, today I have got something a little different, but oh my Lord, how powerful is this? As you all know, there's a lot of us out here in this wonderful land trying to bring legality back to our parliaments. And one of those people is doing an outstanding job. I'd say he's out in front of the crowd. He's not saying wait a while. He's not saying maybe this. He's actually out there getting the job done and shutting stuff down. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Rod Culleton from Western Australia. Now, Rod, he's just an amazing guy. There's no end to his energy, and his knowledge base is vast. Rod spoke to me the other day and sent me a copy of the document that he did, and I wanted to do a video on it, and he said, well, you go for it. So here I am, I'm going for it. Why am I doing this? Well, firstly, Rod's a good bloke. Secondly, he's got the score on the board. He's not full of piss and wind. Rod is actually out there getting the job done in Western Australia. And what he's done is it relates to everybody all over Australia. Let me share the screen. Let me bring this up. Let me get this going here. Okay, Rod Culleton, Senator, ex-Senator from Western Australia. He's the head of the Great Australia Party. Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. Please pay attention. Now, I'm going to be reading this entire letter, so bear with me. I'll probably stumble a bit and have to go back over a couple of words, but everybody in Australia needs to get their head around what Rod Culleton has just done. It is awesome. So, Senator Rodney Culleton, he sent this letter to Col Blanche, the Commissioner of Police in WA, and it is a notice of constitutional departure, the Crown and Right of the United Kingdom, WA. And this was done on the 8th of August. Letters patent relating to the office of the Governor of the State of Western Australia, dated the 4th of February 1986. Now listen to the title here. Elizabeth II, by the grace of God of the United Kingdom, Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of our other realms and territories, Queen, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith. That is the lawful actual title that the Queen has to have, right? Dear Police Commissioner, this letter concerns the law that determines the authority by which the performance of law and the conduct of justice relies upon for execution in Western Australia, given the state exists by performance and right as a state within the Commonwealth. Right? Now, in doing this, Rod is very specific as he goes through here. This matter arises in light of a new proposed legislation, the Aboriginal Cultural Heritage Act 2021, and the proposed amendments foreshadowed Aboriginal Heritage Act 1972, the ACTs. Now, this was done, what Rod has done is what initiated the shutdown of that process, claiming inter alia to affect our private land rights through the legislature of Parliament of Western Australia. The official notice was served and received by Dr. Tony Booty, I think that's how you pronounce his name, MLA, doing business as the Minister for Aboriginal Affairs on the 30th of June 23. So Rod and his team sent Booty a formal notice. Prior to its alleged implementation, whereby Mr. Booty was held to the laws of Western Australia and the Commonwealth. On the 19th of July 2023, Mr. Booty responded to the official notice in writing on behalf of the state government, claiming, amongst other things, the following. The state government considers, that's an opinion. It's like armpits, we've all got them. Most of them are smelly, considers the Act as passed by Western Australian Parliament is a valid and binding law. It's his opinion. It doesn't say that it is a valid and binding law. As you may be aware, the foundation, being the Torres title system, is enshrined in the Transfer of Land Act 1893, giving registered title protection to any real property through fee simple and indefeasibility under the Crown of the United Kingdom. Now, what does indefeasibility means? Well, it's in relation to your title. And what it means, I looked it up, right? I want to get it right. It is not capable of being annulled or overturned or destroyed. Your land title is held in indefeasibility. The purpose of the assembly on the 15th, now that's in 2 days' time, in WA, Rod and his guys are getting together in Perth, right? On the 15th of August 2023, by the people of Western Australia, is to invoke and action the rights of indefeasibility against the legislature of the Western Australian Parliament, being a separation of powers and attempting to grant rights, land, like your land title rights, to a third party, being identified as corporate souls. So now the 15th is really tomorrow, right? So we want to get this out and about, particularly to the guys in Western Australia. So, but the principle here is incredible. It is absolutely incredible what Rod and his guys have done. It is incumbent of me as former federal senator for Western Australia. This matter arises in the light of the removal of the Crown for application in Western Australia, otherwise required by Section 2, subsection 2 and subsection 3 of the Constitution Act of 1898 of Western Australia. Now, we've all the states have got different time frames on that, different dates, but it's all foundationally the same. Were placed into force in effect in 1986 by the application of the Australia Act 1986 UK, an event that makes the application of the said constitutional sections to the font of law inoperable. Inoperable. Well, let's have a look here. Now, Rod has underlined for specificity. The Constitution Act of 1889, Section 2 in Western Australia, the legislation to be constituted in Western Australia. The Parliament of Western Australia consists of the Queen. Okay, you got it, the Queen, right? And the Legislative Council, the Legislative Assembly. Every bill after this passage through the Legislative Council and the Legislative Assembly shall, subject to Section 73, be presented to the Governor for assent by or in the name of the Queen, and shall be of no effect unless it has been duly assented to by or in the name of the Queen. You know, the one we read out at the front, Keeper of the Faith. The prohibition found at Sections 2, subsection 3, above applies universally with regard to the bills of Parliament in Western Australia for royal assent by the Crown of the United Kingdom. By the Crown of the United Kingdom. Okay. The attempted and pretended removal of the Crown in contraventions. Section 5 of the Australia Act 1986, as stated below. Point 5, Commonwealth Constitution, Constitution Act and Statute of Westminster are not affected, they say. Sections 2, 3 and point 2 are subject to Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, to the Constitution of the Commonwealth, and do not operate so as to give any force or effect to a provision of an Act of Parliament of State that would repeal, amend, or be repugnant to this Act. The Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, the Constitution of the Commonwealth, or the State or the Statute of Westminster 1931, as amended and enforced from time to time, which is otherwise required of Parliament, otherwise required to hold Parliament and to hold office of Governor pursuant to the Letters Patent 1986, which may offend Section 44 of the Criminal Code 1913. Now, I know this is a bit like death by PowerPoint and putting up with me reading this, but you can read this yourself. But here we go. Sedition. An intention to affect any of the following purposes, that is to say, to bring the sovereign into hatred or contempt, to excite dissatisfaction against the sovereign or the government or constitution of the United Kingdom or of the Commonwealth of Australia or Western Australia as by laws established, or against either House of Parliament of the United Kingdom or the Commonwealth of Australia or Western Australia, or against the administration of justice. This is sedition. Now you think about what's going on out there. To excite Her Majesty's subjects to attempt to procure the alteration of any matter in the state as by law established otherwise than by lawful means. When you think about how the Australia Act was introduced, and you'll see as we go along here, Rod's done an amazing job. To raise discontent or dissatisfaction amongst Her Majesty's subjects, to promote feelings of and enmity between different classes of Her Majesty's subjects. Hello, hello, the voice, is a seditious intention unless it is justified by the provisions of the next following sections. Now, we went through that and it doesn't matter. They don't apply. It is well known by federal senators, by any federal senator and sitting member in public office, that any enterprise that may carry out an act of contempt pursuant to Section 44 is taken at law to be a criminal organisation for the enterprise of carrying out a seditious intention. Hello, are you listening? The entire parliaments of every state are carrying on a criminal organisation for the enterprise of carrying out seditious intention. This is bombshell stuff, guys. On Section 46 of the Criminal Code 1913. 46, a seditious enterprise is an enterprise which undertaken in order to carrying out the sedition intention. Seditious words are words expressive of sedition intention. Oh my Lord, this is huge. The term seditious writing includes anything intended to be read, or any sign or advertisement perhaps, or visual representation that is expressive of seditious intention. This is going to go big, ladies and gentlemen. This will go big. When I say big, it'll be a shot heard around the world. Sedition is covert conduct, such as speech and organisation that tends towards rebellion against the established order. Sedition often includes subversion of a constitution and incitement of discontent toward insurrection against the established authority. Our constitution, our lawful rights. There is two parliaments, remember that. There's two commonwealths. One is not connected by law to the other. The Western Australia Constitution Act 1898 sets out the purpose and powers and makeup of the Western Australian Parliament. It was based on imperial legislation from England and was created to ensure better governance of the colony of Western Australia, defining the legislative process in WA. Albeit that said, as declared at the Federal Parliament in 2016 through my office, the law holds the application of every act of the current Parliament made after the removal of the Crown in 1986 to appear to be a criminal act and prohibited for its force and effect by constitutional mandate cited above in sections 2, subsection 3 of the Constitution Act 1898. Did you hear what I just said? Have you seen what Rod Culleton has actually done? He's not standing there bitching and whinging, he's done it. Every person in Western Australia is required to adhere to that law and hold regard for regard of these unlawful acts to be without application, force, and effect to avoid a criminal act. See subsection 173 and 177 of the Criminal Code 1913. Any person employed in the public service omits or refuses to act when required to do so. It is a matter of public record by the examination of the Gazette of Western Australia that the Commission of Governors in Western Australia, and this is the same all over Australia, every state, the Commissioners of Governors in Western Australia post 1986 are made under the pretend office of the Queen of Australia, an invention of the Whitlam government in 1973, a pretend office found to be made without Commonwealth law. Without Commonwealth law. Do you get it? Without Commonwealth law. And made in contravention to the second clause, the Commonwealth of the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1900 UK. Ladies and gentlemen, this applies all over Australia. If no state has a lawful governor, they have no lawful parliament. If there's no lawful parliament, there's no lawful authority. It is the intention of the farmers in Western Australia to continue the protest against the application of the Aboriginal Cultural Heritage Act 2021, including but not limited to all the acts or implementations of an act post 1986 that appear to extinguish the rights of the people of Western Australia and every state, and the property rights of farmers to the unfettered operation of farmland. The operation, in order for an act to become law within the state of Western Australia, must receive royal assent as declared of the said Revoke Act. Aboriginal Cultural Heritage Act, commencement, an act to come into operation as follows. Part 1, on the day on which the act receives royal assent, assent day. Well, it can't get royal assent. The reason for the revocation of this act is due to the 30th of June notice of prohibition served on Tony Booty. Section 2 of the said act stated above could not fill the requirement of the royal assent pursuant to sections 2.3. Constitution Act 1898, due to the alteration of the Royal Styles and Titles Act 1947, the Royal Styles Amendment Act 53, on the date, the 7th of December, 73. The alteration through the Royal Styles and Titles Amendment Act of 53 invoked a pretended title from an Australian Act infringing on the letters patent of Western Australia, which purports to operate in the absence of a royal warrant to make such laws. Royal Styles and Titles Amendment Act 53. Section 5 of the Act reads as follows. The schedule referred to the schedule in the Royal Styles and Titles Amendment Act 1953 reads as follows. The Royal Styles and Titles Act. Elizabeth II, by the grace of God of the United Kingdom, Australia, her other realms and territories, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith. That is the Queen's proper title. This act, the United Kingdom, means the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. It was altered to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen of Australia, right? Her other realms and territories, head of the Commonwealth. Not even close. The Queen of Australia, as I've said, is Gough Whitlam's watery tart out of Lake Burley Griffin. The Royal Styles and Titles Act of 47 requires a royal proclamation when there is a change of title for want of creation in order for any bill to become binding at law on the people of Western Australia and any state. The Royal Styles and Titles Act 47 states that there must be an alteration at federal level as occurred in 47, 53 and 79, which has not happened to date due to the absence of a Commonwealth Act to empower a change to the style of the title. Furthermore, the King is a statutory entity in Australia and is unable to adopt a Title Act of 23 under the visible crown removed from the Commonwealth. They've pooed in their own pants. This right of protest is sanctioned by the operation of Section 46 Criminal Code, Section 1913, and may reflect the duty to prevent the application of bills passed without proper royal assent, as stated above. Now, unless the issue above can be demonstrated to be mistaken, misunderstood, or otherwise in error, it may be taken that the police in Western Australia is subject to the above and must enforce the constitutional prohibition in the spirit of the Crown guarantee of our Constitution that is under the Crown of the United Kingdom. This notice requires of you, now keep in mind this has gone to the Police Commissioner. This notice requires of you to implement an investigation into the matters raised here within. It is my right as a member of the Commonwealth of Australia of Western Australia, and I may seek the protection of Her Majesty's promised at coronation in 53, Section 2.3 of the Constitution Act of 1889, for which I rightly exercise with my fellow Western Australians. Note, with reference to the law above, how is it not, that any person avoids committing a crime unless it is shown that the law provides a waiver? I ask in the interest of the people of Western Australia that a response shall be held for the record. Ladies and gentlemen, what Rod Culleton's done is he has put the cat so far amongst the pigeons, it is scary good. It is scary good. Now, I know that's not the most exciting video I've ever put out, but it is. Watching me stumble through those words is not exciting. But the content and the effect that they will have around the world, around the country, for every man, woman, and child, Rod Culleton has actually pulled the trigger that so many of us have been trying to do. I am so pleased that this has happened. It is an absolute corker. If you are in Western Australia, you need to get down to Perth, get in touch with Rod on the Great Australia Party website, and you get down to Perth tomorrow, be that Tuesday, and it will be an awesome day. It really will. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tim Dwyer. I do live in South Australia, and I do love this country. For the sake of time, I'll say goodbye. Thank you very much.